mandate or law or regulations, as different people call them different things. Number one, we're going to be discussing how to register your cell phone in under 10 minutes in person and where to do this. And I'll give you directions to both places, both Globe and Smart. Each have one location on the island of Bohol in Tagbilaran City. And the first thing that we're going to discuss is I have received information that you can do this at the Capitol building. Yet, when I go to either one of the centers to register the cell phone, they both say they don't know anything about registration at the Capitol building. So I would not go there on the island of Bohol. Save you a trip to the Capitol building. The second thing is, in order to register your cell phone, good morning, Rich Buang too. Mein Buntag, Richard. Thanks for stopping by. And in case those of you who don't know, Rich Buang too is a video creator, and a very creative video creator at that. And he grabs snippets of different video makers on YouTube, and he grabs these snippets and then animates them, and he understands how to do this stuff with editing. He does quite a good job for the most part. So if you're not familiar with Rich Buang too, he does have a channel with hundreds of videos on it, and his editing skills are very much superior to anybody else on YouTube in the Philippine genre. So, you're welcome, Rich. So if you're not familiar with Rich, go subscribe to his channel. He'll make you laugh until you cry, which my brother did this morning. He had another incident with a flying cell phone. My brother has a propensity to make his cell phones fly. But let's get back to I'll tell you the flying cell phone story after I tell you how to register your cell phone. So if you have a smart cell number that's working now, and it has a load in the phone, in the cell phone, SIM card, you need two things to go to Smart. You need to bring your cell phone with the SIM card in it. And for Smart, you need your passport. Nothing else will satisfy them except your passport. Unless you're Filipino, then your national ID, or if you're from a country like China and you have a national ID, you can use that. But typically you're going to have a passport anyway. But Smart will not accept your local driver's license, what they said. So, for foreigners, for Filipinos, yes, but for foreigners, no. So you need, if you're an American, you need to bring your passport to the Smart office, which is located in Tagbilaran City, 2 blocks from the BQ Mall. Ask where the Alturas Mall is, Alturas, Alturas Mall. Then there are 2 buildings. You want to go to the Alturas Mall that has the Jollibee restaurant on the ground floor. You want to go to the Jollibee restaurant, and you want to look across the street. On a 45-degree angle, you're going to see Smart cell phone service sales. They sell programs for internet service at the Smart cell phone office there. You walk across the street, there's going to be a girl next to the sign that I have in my thumbnail, the registration. She's sitting at a desk, and you sit down, you give them your cell phone, you give them your passport for Americans. For Filipinos, you give them your national ID. She takes a picture of your passport. She puts your cell phone number into a registrar. They take a picture of you. They take your address, where you, if you're staying at a hotel, that's okay. As long as you have a Philippines address, anything close to where you're living, it's not an exact science. You can just say the barangay that you're living in, that's enough. And she will fill out a form. She does all of this. You don't do anything. You give her your cell phone. She takes a picture of your passport, your ID, or a picture of your and a picture of the passport and a picture of you, two pictures. It takes about 7 or 8 minutes, and that's it. You're done. She says thank you. You say thank you, and you go about your business. That's for Smart. For Globe, it's a little more complicated for Globe. Hey, Ant Farmer, thank you. Well, we have to get a pot. Let me, am I familiar? Let me get finished with the Globe. Let me see this. Are you familiar with Aeronautics? How many 10-ton cranes would it take to hold just the fuel of a 747? Please answer at your convenience. I think that a 747, if I remember correctly, and I don't know that I do, I think it holds 78,000 pounds of jet fuel. That would be 10,000 gallons. No, could be. I can look it up I will look it up for you online. How much fuel? I'll do that now, and then we'll get back to the Globe. Now the Globe cell phones are a little bit more complicated. How much fuel? Fuel, F-U-E-L, in 747. How much fuel in a 747? Okay, so let's turn that around. It looks like 20,000 gallons of fuel for a 4,000-mile trip. That's not a long trip, but that's an intermediate trip. So 20,000 gallons, so you'd have 20,000 times 7.2. So that would be 10,000, would be 71,000 pounds, 141,000 pounds. So I was my 78,000 pounds is for a short flight. Thank you, Salamat Song, for Ant Farmer. We will. Let me finish Globe. So that would hold about 150,000 pounds of fuel. And how many cranes? How many 10-ton cranes? Well, a 10 tons is 20,000 pounds. So it should take seven 10-ton cranes to lift up 142,000 pounds of fuel. Jet fuel, I believe, weighs 7.2 pounds per gallon. Those are gallons, not metric gallons. Water is 8 pounds, and diesel is a little bit lighter than the jet fuel. Well, there's different grades of diesel. So the Globe phone is a little more complicated than the smartphone. For Globe, you go to the Globe store in the ICM building on the second floor. Go up the escalator, second floor, Globe store. This is a 3-minute ordeal. But Globe does not accept American passports. They need to have a government ID or a valid driver's license. Philippines driver's license with your address on the government ID or the driver's license. If you're an American and you have a Globe cell phone, it has to be registered at Globe, and I'll give you both cell phones have to be registered before April 31st, or you lose your phone number. You can buy a new one, but you will lose a phone number, the phone number in your phone. If you don't have, I have a driver's license for where I live. That's current, my driver's license. That has my address on it. If you have a government ID with your address in the Philippines, that's okay. If you're a foreigner from China or Russia and you have a government ID, period, any government ID, that seemed to be okay for the fella next to me. They didn't require a Philippines address because he said he was on vacation. So that might have been how he got away with that. But they asked me where I live, and I had my driver's license. So that man will take a picture of your ID, your face, put in whatever information. I think I spent 6 minutes there. So neither of the two processes require any money. There's no money involved at all. They're both free. But here is what happens if you don't register by April 31st. Now, my cell phone numbers have been valid for 7 years, both my numbers, because I keep a load in the phone and I never let it expire the 60 days. If it expires 60 days, you lose your cell phone number. On April 31st, every cell phone number in the Philippines that's not registered gets disconnected. Me personally, I think it's a gimmick in order to make you buy a new SIM card. Because what they could do, instead of disconnecting and you lose the number, they could put the number on hold. Nope, that's not what they're going to do. They are going to remove your cell phone number from the index, period. Your cell phone number is gone come April 31st. They could, as I said, simply, instead of deleting your phone number, they could put it on hold until you register. But nope. What they want to do is they want to sell 15, 30, 40, 50 million new SIM cards, as many as they can. You buy, they make. They make more SIM cards, you'll buy them. You lose your card, you're going to buy one. But here's the problem with that. You have to notify all the people in your contacts list that you lost your cell phone number and you have to change it. It's a hassle. So it's so much easier and free to go to the Smart office opposite Jollibee's in the Alturas Mall, 2 blocks from BQ Mall, or go into the Globe store in the ICM Mall. One takes about 10 minutes, one takes about 6 minutes. Much easier. So Ant Farmer, for a flight of 4,000 miles, you need 20,000 gallons of fuel. A gallon is 7.1, 7.2, depends on the grade of fuel they're using. There's 3 different grades. And then it's all kerosene, but it's not gasoline. And so 20,000 would be 10,000 times 7, would be 71,000 pounds. And 71,000 pounds would be 142,000 pounds. You'd need 10 tons is 20,000 pounds. You'd need 7 10-ton cranes to lift up that much fuel. Although you couldn't pick it up with a crane because it comes in a tank. But that's how many cranes you would need. Plus, of course, the weight of the tank. So you'd have to add the weight of the tank to how much the tanks themselves, like a 6,000 gallon tanker, a 6,000 gallon tanker that pulls into a gas station. Now that might weigh 20,000 pounds by itself. So you have to take into compensation. You're not going to pick up the fuel with a crane. You need a container. So let's get an Ant Farmer song up here right away for Rich Buon. And let's see, Rich Buon is looking for some more material. Ant Farmer. What rhymes with Ant Farmer? What rhymes with Ant Farmer? Let's see. A plant farmer. So for the Ant Farmer, for the donation, we have a thank you, Ant Farmer. Thank you very much, Ant Farmer. That's a tough one. Ant Farmer, he sent me super chat. Ant Farmer is where it's at when they send me super chat. Thank you, Ant Farmer. You are my bestest friend today, Ant Farmer. Ant Farmer, not Plant Farmer, he sent me super chat. Remember, I bang a pot, I make a lot. Not every day in every way, but over the years, people like Ant Farmer, they make me laugh, I have to say. Ant Farmer, Ant Farmer, Ant Farmer. Hey, sent me more today. It's not his first time for Super Chat. Let's hope it's not his last. Ant Farmer has a track record of sending money for me to bang a pot and make a lot. Sung to Silent Night, Ant Farmer, Ant Farmer. I made more money than Mama today. Salamat, Ant Farmer. Thank you, thank you. Yes, we thank you from the bottom of our pot. Thank you for helping me make a lot. Thank you for helping me make a lot. How's that, Rich? Okay? That was good? You like that? That was fun. So, anybody have any questions about how to register your phone? It's free, in case you guys missed the beginning of the video. Thank you, Ant Farmer. And Rich, I hope you got some good sound bites out of that one. That was from the heart. That was from the soul. Did you? Oh, thank you for helping me make a lot. Hey, I saw, boy. I saw some I saw some stuff on YouTube this week. It's pretty amazing, some of the stuff that's going down on YouTube. So this is why I don't get involved with people. A lot of people have my email, and that's okay. I don't care. Nobody's ever said anything really negative about my email, but there are a lot of people that ask for my permission to go on my messenger. I only just have so much time in a day. I really don't have a lot of time. Now, Bill Ga, he sent me some really, really cool videos about rockets. One went up 73 miles and hit the dome. There's supposed to be a glass dome at the top. Oh, let's talk about my brother's cell phones. They fly. So I remember this story. About my brother has always had, as far as I could remember going back into the 90s, 8th row, front, 8-yard line, front row seats for the Giants football. So he likes sports. So, but he went to a football game, and they didn't have those seats for that game. And my brother gets very excited because he likes football. He's a very enthusiastic sports fan, my brother. So his team, I don't remember why he did what he did, but he has a cell phone that it was about $300, $400. Most cell phones are. He has a plan. And his team didn't do something, or the other team did something to his team. That part I don't remember, but he took his cell phone and he threw it. He was 3 tiers up at the stadium, and he threw it at the other team, but it hit a telephone pole or a stanchion. It hit something that was about 40 feet away. It didn't, and his friends were laughing at him because now and when the cell phone hit, it blew apart. The battery came out. The housing came off the cell phone, and you could see it at the next tier down on the ground in pieces. Now, his intention was to throw it onto the field, but it hit that. So they were laughing at my brother that he couldn't even throw. There's nothing in the way. It's a football stadium. There's nothing in the way except that one pole. And the phone hit the pole. So for one reason or another, he went down and gathered up the pieces, whatever pieces that he could find that broke off the cell phone. The side broke off, the battery was out, and he came back up on the stands and he started putting it together. And they were all laughing because these are the same 6 or 8 people that he goes to every game with. Since I remember going, I saw one of the most exciting games in all of football history. And I don't remember. There was 17 points down, and there were 2 minutes left at Giant Stadium. I think it was the New England Patriots, but I don't remember. And they got the 17 points, or whatever it was, and then it went into overtime, and then they got the field goal. It was some stupid comeback. Maybe somebody would know what it was. This had to go back into the 80s. So these same guys had the same seats, but on that game, maybe they gave the seats to somebody else because they shared seats. So he put the cell phone back together, and they were laughing at him because, why would you bother? You just threw it, and it worked. And he punched it up, and it came back on, and it worked for a long time. So I tried to call him this week, and the cell phone, there's no answer. So I maybe went on vacation or something like that. So when I spoke with him this morning, I said, Tom, what's up? He goes, that the cell phone was on the fritz. I said, how far? He started laughing. He says, well, went off the balcony, and there was no putting it back together. Whatever it hit off the balcony. Not all cell phones fly. That's the moral of the story. Is not all cell phones fly and are put back togetherable. Not, you can't put them all back together. So we laughed for a solid 5 minutes. I said, then remember when you threw it at the stadium and there was nothing in front of you except that pole? And he goes, you remember that? I'm going, I'll remember that for the rest of my life. Because when he told it to me, he was with his friends and we were all laughing. Because I know him. He has a propensity to throw cell phones. It wasn't his first cell phone flight. That was just one. Some of them, when they go. They don't come back. Ocean cell phones, when you throw them in the ocean, they're gone. When you throw them off the boat, they're gone. When you throw them at the stadium, they come back sometimes. But when the one he threw off the deck this week didn't make it, it was failed operation. But anyway, he had me laughing because when he said that the cell phone, I said, how far, Tommy, how far? Oh, and he started laughing because right away I knew. I mean, how else does a cell phone break? When he said it was on the fritz, that means it was flying. On the fritz equals flying. Problem with the cell phone? Flying. Broken cell phone? Flying. He has a propensity to throw cell phones. He's always done this, too. This goes back as far as I can remember. Horse loses a race, cell phone could fly. He's an amazing technician. So when he brought the cell phone to the repair shop, they said that they could retrieve the information and the pictures from the cell phone for $100, but the cell phone was not repairable. So some cell phones fly and some don't. I didn't ask him which one it was. But let's go back to the let me go back to the live stream if I can here. I hope I answered that question. 7 10-ton trucks should be able to pick up 140,000 pounds of jet fuel. So that was wait a second, what's going on here? That's a commercial. I have a commercial on my advertisement here. Anybody have any questions about cell phones and how to register them? I'd be happy to answer that. Skip the ads. Come on. My computer's freezing up again. I want to throw this Lenovo computer, I'll tell you that. Got it. Okay, let's go here. Got it. Okay, so flying circus. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Hey, I saw you those videos you made this week. I have something to say about that. Flying circus, that one with the guy dishing out the cash, that is art imitating life. That's what that is. I couldn't think of that expression. Where art imitates. That guy just keeps throwing cash at that other guy. Now, I would have personally, I would have done that video if I had video skills. You got to, Flying Circus, see if you can get your link up there on the page. Flying Circus had a guy with a giant ego, big man on campus, BMOC. I'll never forget what that means for a few weeks anyway. Throwing cash at none other than another big guy, a man who can't walk a mile in his own shoes, unfortunately so. Me personally, I would have had the guy dishing out the cash. Where's my wallet? Here it is, right here. I would have had the guy dishing out the cash. I hate doing this. I'm not going to do it. I would have had the guy dishing out the cash like this. I'm going to put some paper around it. The guy dishing out the cash, if it was this is some 20 peso bills there, I would have put a tissue paper around it like that, with the cash in my mouth, and the guy dishing out the cash would have had the cash in his mouth, and he would be inserting the cash with his mouth. That's how I would have done it if I had technical skills like that. He would have had a mouthful of cash. He would have had the other guy, and he would be inserting the cash with his mouth. That's how I would have did it if it was my option. Now you, on the other hand, your technical skills are not so great, Flying Circus. Now DNC, if my friend DNC is here. DNC, here, this is for DNC. Take the cash, put it in the guy's mouth like that. Oh, goddamn cash, that's his fucking ass. And then insert the cash. Insert it into his wallet. You know what I'm saying, DNC? You get the point? Insert that cash. That would have been how I would have did it. But because that's life imitating, art imitating life. Like a Woody Allen. It would have been a Woody Allen special for sure. Greetings, Flying Circus. And Farmer, thank you. The nose, Dave, okay, sorry, Dave. Dave Zalinsky. Dave. There are satellites, according to some people, but they don't transfer the internet. Now, there's satellite TV. How they stay in orbit, I don't know. I don't know how they stay in orbit. There are two venues on the internet. How do satellites stay in orbit? And I posted the links in my previous live stream. One, NASA says they carry fuel cells, but that's a limited amount of fuel. And there's so many problems with this. If the Earth is a spinning ball, which it's not, but if it was, every time the Earth rotated, and then you got to remember the Earth is traveling around the sun. The Earth is rotating at 1,038 miles per hour. And then the Earth is rotating around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour. And the sun and the Earth and Pluto and Venus and Mars and Saturn and the moon is moving through space at a phenomenal 650 million miles an hour, according to the Big Bang Theory and NASA. Each one of the planets supposedly has quote-unquote gravity. Each gravitational force is what holds the planets in orbit. Therefore, planetary gravitational forces have a tendency to gravitate to a satellite. All things supposedly gravity are controlled by gravity. That's how the planets stay in orbit, which we know is a fallacy. But given that all planets have gravity, and given that the sun has more gravity than other planets, the satellites are going to have a gravitational pull on them. Now, every time the Earth rotates, the satellite has to move its antennas to stay facing the sun to grab the sunlight to make electric. Every time the Earth rotates around this way, the satellite has to follow the sun because they're transmitting 24/7. And the batteries have to maintain when there is no sun. Well, when it goes behind the Earth, when there's an equinox, whatever, shadows. So, how much fuel can fit inside a box pushing against a vacuum? What is it pushing against? That's another. I've said this in many of my live streams. The longest running thread on YouTube in history, when I got on the internet back in the 90s, was a thread. How do spaceships push against empty space, a vacuum? And everybody in the world, everybody on YouTube chimed in on their opinion. Scientists, physicists, people that said they were scientists, people that said they were physicists, people that said they were engineers. Everybody had an idea. How can you push against nothing, a vacuum, and get equal and opposite motion? You have to push against something. So then the theory was that the exhaust that came out at first is there now. It's over here, the exhaust, and they push against the exhaust. That's utter nonsense. So what does the satellite push against? I have a problem with that. But let's just say that for some strange reason, thrust from a rocket engine in a satellite could keep the satellite adjusted towards the sun, and the satellite is 5 feet by 5 feet, and it has 4 propane tanks in it. How long could they last? The satellites have been up there since the 1970s. Some of them are supposed to still be working. How long can they last? I mean, really, how much fuel does it take to make a quick burst 50 times, 100 times a day? I don't know how many times. See, and here's the problem with all of this. There is no communication satellite. That's only for communications. That's not for the internet. Internet is under the sea. How much fuel does it take to keep the satellite adjusted perfectly facing the sun 24/7, 7 days a week for how many years? I don't know. And here's the problem. They don't have a video. All of these are communications at NBC, ABC, CBS, WPLJ, whatever. They all have all communication satellite. Not even one of them has a video camera facing out into space so you could see another satellite when it passes by. There's no pictures. There's no video. There's nothing but CGI. And when you Google how do satellites maintain an orbit, it's all CGI and it's all words. It's one article after another, like that guy, Professor Penderson. He gets paid $4,000 a week to do theoretical science, and he talks about theoretical science on YouTube. None of it is provable, but he makes Penderson or Penderman, he makes $4,000 a week talking about theory. How is this possible that none of it's provable? Where is one video camera on one of 4,900 communications satellites is all it would take to prove that there are satellites in space, and yet there are no video cameras on any satellites anywhere ever that you can find on the internet. You can find some CGI of the ISS taking high Earth orbit photography. But how do we know where that is? I mean, is it at 100,000 feet or is it at 100 miles? There's no way to know that. You can't prove any of it. They can't prove any of it. Where is there just one video on the internet of a real satellite in real time taking video of another satellite? Because there's 10,000 satellites in space. 4,900 of them are still supposed to be working. There has got to be one video camera to take a picture of another satellite when it passes the other satellite, or when it's going past something with the stars in the background, when it passes the space station. Not a single frame of anything but CGI. That is what's amazing. Not satellites in space. What's amazing, all communications satellite, no video, no real-time pictures, no stars in the background, no ISS station from a half a mile or a mile away. None of that exists. All CGI. Now, let's go back over here. Oh, boy. Okay. Hey, Bantai and Bro, I'm sorry. I you know what? These glasses are garbage. These are 5.0. I need my 4.5s back. When I'm talking about satellites, I have to be able to see the screen. Bantai and Bro, I've been told 165,000 kilograms. Okay, so that would be 330,000 pounds. 330,000 pounds divided by 20 would be 16 10-ton trucks. 10 tons is 20,000 pounds. 330,000 pounds if it was 165,000 kilograms would be 165, and 165 is 330 plus 20, 350, 350,000 pounds divided by 20,000 pounds. When you divide it by tons, not kilos, would be 350, 17 trucks. 17 10 trucks. Michael, who asked that question? Ann Farmer. There's your answer. So somewhere between 150,000 pounds, as according to the internet, for a 4,000 mile trip, and 350,000 pounds. Ant Farmer. I'm sorry if my math is not exact, but it's close enough. 365. Yeah, I think I did that math right. 165,000 kilos. For a full 747, times that by 2 is 330,000 pounds, but times 0.2 again, so add another 20,000 pounds, 350,000 pounds. You'd need 17 10-ton trucks. But you have to add the weight of the container on the truck as well. The container probably weighs 10,000 pounds by itself. A 6,000-gallon fuel cell made out of metal. Thank you, Battalion Brawler. Oh, Ann Farmer wants to know how it comes off the ground without 10-ton cranes helping it. It's called lift, L-I-F-T. Here, see this? See how flat this is? That's the bottom of the wing, flat. Let's just say it's flat. See the top? See, this is the top of the wing. This is called the camber, C-A-M-B-R-A, camber. Camber of the wing. This is the bottom of the wing. This is how lift is created for a typical airfoil. The aerodynamics of a typical airfoil that creates lift is the bottom of the wing is flat, the top of the wing is curved, and this is the camber. Okay, so point A over here is point A, and this is point B. When the airplane is moving through air, point A is the leading edge of the camber. The leading edge of the camber. Point B is the trailing edge of the camber. So from point A to point B on the bottom, there's a distance of 1 meter. Let's just say 1 foot. 1 foot. But from point A to point B on the top, to go over the top of the camber and then back down to the trailing edge, because it's a curve, there's more distance. So on the bottom, it's 1 foot. On the top, it's 1.2 feet. The law of aerodynamics says that the flow of air over from point A to point B, if a molecule of air starts at point A, 2 molecules of air start at point A. Even though one is going a further distance over the top, 1.2 feet, than the bottom, 1.1 foot, 1 foot, the velocity of the air over the top of the wing bay is going to, the air molecules from A to B are going to meet in the front of the wing, front of the airfoil, and at the back they're going to meet at the same time. In order for that to happen, the air has to go faster over the camber. The faster that the air flows over the camber, the velocity increases, the pressure decreases. It's called the Venturi principle. Venturi principle. So they have to meet at the back, the 2 molecules have to meet at the back of the wing at the same time. In order for that to happen, it has to go over the camber, increase the velocity, decrease in pressure, and the decrease in pressure creates lift. That's what makes an airplane fly. If you change the angle of attack of the wing, the bottom of the wing is going to push some pressure upwards, but lift is created by the decrease in pressure, increase in velocity, decrease in pressure creates lift. Airplanes are lifted up. They're not pushed up from the bottom of the wing. It's called aerodynamics. It's called the Venturi principle. An increase in velocity over the camber creates a decrease in pressure on top of the wing, and that is what lifts the plane up. The plane is not being pushed up. Some is from the bottom of the wing once there's momentum, but for the most part, the plane is being sucked up into the air. Anybody want to confirm or deny that? You're welcome to change the law of aerodynamics. And you're welcome to change Bernoulli's principle of the Venturi. It's a Bernoulli, I think it's a Bernoulli that made that law, but it's the Venturi principle. Ventauri, Venturi principle. I think it's Bernoulli's law. I don't remember that part, but I know that's how lift is created. Flying circus, plant farmer, and it's what else could we come up with besides What else could we come up with besides plant farmer and ant farmer? So thanks for stopping by. Tip of the hat to Richie. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Ant Farmer. Oh, Tuna. Tahuna Kahuna has gifted Alpha Male construction videos. A gift. Gifted 20 Alpha Male construction videos by Fazio. Tuna Kahuna. Salamat. Whoa. That was nice. Thank you. I got to bang a pot. I like that name, Tahuna Kaluna. Tuna Kahuna. All righty. Now we're moving here. We're moving and shaking. So let's see. Gifted a membership by Tuna Kahuna. Ah, okay. Gifted. I'm a member of my own community. Well, thank you. No, Petri Finn. Petri Finn was gifted a membership by Kahuna Tahuna. Tuna Kahuna. Where's my spoon? For the gifted memberships, we use. For the gifted memberships, we have to use the pot. Oh, look at that. The pot has looks like a dent. Somebody must have hit the pot with a bowler. All right. Tuna Kahuna. Tuna Kahuna. I gotta move the cam back a little bit. Salamat. So, Petri Finn was gifted a Tahuna Kahuna membership by, we'll call it the Bolo Pot. The Bolo Pot. The Bolo Pot was in a lot of super chat today. The Bolo Pot has seen a lot of super chat today from Tuna Kahuna. Tuna Kahuna. I thank Tuna Kahuna. Salamat a lot as I bang on the bolo pot. The bolo pot. The bolo pot. It's not a bowl, it's not a pot, it's a bolo pot. It's not a it's not a bolo, it's not a pot, it's a bolo pot. Bang a pot, we have made a lot. It's not a bowl, it's not a pot, it's a bolo pot. We thank Tuna Kahuna. Much, a lot, salamat, much, thank you very much. Tuna Kahuna, we banged the bolo pot today. I must say, it feels good to bang a bolo pot. It's not a bowl, it's not a pot. It's a combination of a pot and a bolo notch. At the top of the bolo pot, there's a bolo notch in the bowl. La la la. Salamat. Thank you. Tuna Kahuna. Oh my God. Thank you very much. So, now you have any more questions about Lyft? If I didn't, I could Google on the phone. I could show you. I give you the exact law. Let me read a few comments. Canoe in the Philippines is in the house for the first time in 2 months. Canoe in the Philippines was gifted a member by Tuna Kahuna Canada. Thank you very much. More songs, more songs. The songs will not stop because there's a bolo dent in the bolo pot. Canoe in the Philippines, he has not been around since he praised that giant ego clown. When he praised that giant ego clown, I lost track of where he was at. When you praise a man with such a giant ego as being smart, I have to tell you, I took it to heart. We had this conversation in the past before. That's why you left and walked out the door for the last few months. Canoe in the Philippines, it looks like he is back. Now let's see if we can get him to make me bang a pot. A bolo pot is not quite a pot. It's not quite a bowl because it's a bolo pot. Canoe in the Philippines, after 2 months he's back. Let's remember why he left. Because he praised that guy with the giant ego. Far be it from me to hold a grudge, but that was a smudge on Canoe in the Philippines, baby. Wow. So, oh God, that was fun. Hey, Canoe in the Philippines, 2 months. No comments, no messenger, no nothing. We did have a little spat at that. And Farmer. Oh, how? Oh, no, that's easy. And Farmer. Oh, okay. No, well, how does a motorcycle hold its fuel? There is a... Okay, so and Farmer. Okay, so there is fuel nacelles. There's 3 ways that a 747 can hold fuel. For extended flights, those things that look like torpedoes on the bottom of the wings, that's a fuel tank, a winged fuel tank or a fuel nacelle. And those are hollow. And those fill up with fuel. That's one way to hold fuel. Inside the wing bay is an aluminum tank that runs between the ribbing and the stringers, stringers. There's fuel tanks. The wing bay on a 747 might be 36 inches from the bottom of the wing to the top. Inside, there's a cavity. In the front and the back of the wing bay, it's called the wing bay, are the hydraulics for several things. There's pneumatics for the neoprene rubber leading edge that blows up and knocks the ice off the leading edge on some airplanes. There's hydraulics in the back that operate the airline and the flaps. And in the middle is hollow, inside the stringer. There's fuel tanks inside the airplane. Then on some aircraft, right behind the cockpit, anywhere from behind the cockpit to the pretty much up into the wings, there's another fuel cell. And that is the major fuel storage. And then that storage, I know this isn't your question, but that storage supplies ancillary tanks to the jet engine or to an airplane engine, either one, recip, turboprop, or jet. How it creates the lift is by the speed of the air flowing over the camber of the wing. How does it hold that much fuel? It's not that much fuel. It's not that much weight. It's displaced over 100 foot of wing. It's not a lot. It's not a lot of weight. If you ever built an airplane, when I worked on the A-10As, the A-10As had pretty much the same operation. There was a tank, and sometimes in airplanes there is no metal tank. It's just a fuel bladder, bladder, and that bladder just goes between the upper and lower portion of the wing, and it's tied off inside so it doesn't shift from front to back or side to side. But to hold that much weight, it's not a lot of weight. It's like the way I can describe how the weight is displaced, it's displaced over several hundred square feet, maybe thousands of square feet. Depends on the size of the plane. A cargo craft would have more displacement, but it's called pounds per square inch. How much can it hold? If you were to take I don't know, let's say a motorcycle, and you put the motorcycle tire over your sneaker, and it went over your sneaker, you would feel it. It might even, and slowly, we're not talking about going fast. The weight would go over your foot and go off, and then it go back down on the road. But if you took all that weight and turned it into a 1/8 inch pin and put it on your foot, it would go right through your foot. So the weight is displaced over hundreds of square feet in a 747, and the structural stringers, ribbing, frames, they hold it together. It's like a fuel tank in a car. A fuel tank in a car is just a tank in a car, and it's only held on by 1 inch straps, less than 1/8 of an inch in diameter. It's not a lot of weight when you displace it over the whole airplane. But if I didn't answer your question, don't just ask another question. No super chat, because and farmer he gave me more, as Canoe in the Philippines was given a new door to enter onto the channel. He was never blocked, although I didn't like what he did. He praised the guy with the giant id. Canoe in the Philippines, he's back in the door, and farmer don't send me anymore. If I didn't answer your question, ask another, it's free. As long as Canoe in the Philippines can see me today. Hey, farmer, he made me bang the pot. And farmer, we thank you a lot. Salamat. And farmer, from Michael and the Bolo Pot. Thank you. We thank you a lot. Yeah, baby. Richie, if you didn't get any sound bites out of that, then I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so no, it's not holding 10 ton cranes. It's only holding the fuel. Ah, I think I see where you're going with that question. How much reinforcement would it take? You asked how many cranes it would take to lift that up. Oh, you don't lift it up. It has the strength of holding 17 tons of fuel. I'm really maybe I'm not getting the question. How something made of aluminum and fiber? Well, a 747 is mostly aluminum, and it's 2060 aluminum, I think it was. I forgot the grade, but it's aircraft grade aluminum. It's very strong. Okay. So one more thing that you should know about aircraft aluminum. First of all, it's all heat treated. 90% of it is heat treated or more. It has the tensile strength. If you had an aluminum plate in your hand and you could bend it, you cannot bend aircraft grade aluminum for 3 reasons. One, it's usually a clad product, CLAD, clad. It's usually, when we built the A-10A, it's 2 layers. Each layer is heat treated. 60-20, 20-60, I forget the number. So each layer is dipped in liquid sodium at 1200 degrees. I forget the exact numbers. Each layer, and then and these tanks are bigger than like a tractor trailer truck. That's how big the tanks are. Depends on the size of the skin. It's dipped in this molten solution of at 1200 degrees. Okay? And then it's taken out and quenched in ice water or cold water or oil. So what was a piece of aluminum that you could take and bend with your fingers is no more. That's gone. That's gone. Once they dip it into the molten sodium, I'm pretty sure it was sodium. Once they dip it into the molten sodium and then drop it into ice water or cold water, you cannot bend that piece of metal anymore. That's it. That's not possible to bend the metal. Not by hand. I mean, you could hit it with a hammer, but you can't just, the strength of that metal, it goes up exponentially. Then you take 2 of those heat-treated pieces of metal, and then they put them in a press, a 100-ton press, and they put an emulsifier, a product like a glue. Just call it glue. They put it on top of this skin, they put it on the bottom of this skin, and they press it together with 100 tons or 500 tons of pressure. And it squeezes any air and any in-strained liquid out from between them. And that cures almost instantly. Now you have 2 layers with a bonding agent between them. So now what was once 3/16 of an inch, 2 skins easily bending like tinfoil, that stuff doesn't bend anymore. But it still remains its tensile strength and its resilience to work hardening increases once it's heat treated. So now it could bend 1,000,000 times without breaking. Before the heat treatment, you might bend it 10,000 times, it will break. Like like a soda can, the top comes off a soda can. You bend it, and you bend it back and forth a couple of times, and it breaks off. Once it's heat treated, you could bend it many, many more times, but not folding. You can't fold it. But once it's heat treated, its ability to become work hardened increases exponentially. So you're not talking about regular aluminum anymore. You're talking about multi-clad aluminum, and maybe they make it out of 3 layers now. I don't know. On the A10A, it was 2 layers. The skins were 2 layers. So what you could have originally stuck a ballpoint pen into and dented it, now it would just break the ballpoint pen without doing any damage to the skin. So it's the fiberglass. There's no fiberglass in the 747, not necessarily. There could be a fiberglass retaining tank, but then when you think about it, Ant Farmer, go to Ocean Racers, and they have, what is the name, Miss Penske, or those race boats, they're only made out of fiberglass 5/16 or 3/8 of an inch. And that hull is hitting the waves, 3-foot waves at 150 miles an hour. Fiberglass is pretty strong. I mean, I had one of the best, my Formula SR311. You look up the hull of the Formula SR311 1987. It's the most sought after hull for that type of racing in that class. 1987, I had an SR311 Formula Thunderbird. The Thunderbird had something to do with the exhaust, but that hull, that model, that shape hull is the most sought after in that class, bar none. There are no other. That's the top. If you want to race a boat with that hull design, that's the boat you want. So my boat would go 60 miles an hour, hit a 3-foot wave, and nothing would happen at all. I mean, I did that all day long. I tried not to, but fiberglass is really strong. And when you add carbon fiber to it, which makes it lighter, it's stronger. So could the tanks be made out of fiberglass? They could, but they're not. They're usually a tank with a bladder inside the tank. In fact, I know somebody, one of my friends, not on here, but not in real life. One of my friends is, we talk occasionally from America. He just got a job to put a bladder inside an aircraft. 1,000-gallon bladder, and he was showing me pictures of it, and it's a huge rubber bladder. Now in the A10A, there was the wing cell where the bladder went, and then the bladder inside the A10A was about 3/4 of an inch thick rubber bladder, and it was multiple layers, and it had a chemical in the bladder, in between the outside rubber and the outside rubber protected it from where it hit the ribbing and the skin, and the inside bladder protected it from the fuel. And if a bullet went through the bladder, the material inside the bladder would expand immediately and stop the leak. So there's all kinds of mechanisms that keep the fuel in the plane. But they have this, so could a plane hold 10,000? Yeah, it's not all in one place. It's dispersed over hundreds of square feet. So there's really not that much weight. And the stringers are what holds the wing to the fuselage. Stringers go to the wing tip to the fuselage. They are I-beams that are 10, 14, 16 inches made out of also heat-treated aluminum. You're not going to, they don't bend so easy. Got to remember, these planes are 50 years old. They're still running. So if the skins and the frames don't work harden, there should be no problem for the fuel in the cells also. I hope I answered your question. And how does it hold that much weight? The lift is what picks it up. I'll open up that page for lift in a minute. Scott Del Fuego's in the house. Hold on. Big ups to Tuna Kahuna. Thank you. Yes, Tuna Kahuna. We sang this song. We have more songs, you know. We have more. Thank you very much, Tuna Kahuna. Thank you very much. Big donator in the Thailand YouTube community. I think I remember his name from the Thailand community. Yes, Rich, you're right about that. I do remember that. Dennis Adams giving me a thumbs up for he likes when I sing. He's a gifted man. He has an ear for music. Dennis Adams does. He has an ear for music. Good quality song, especially when you're using the bolo pot. Hey, Scott. No, you didn't. You cannot be interrupting me. Bang a pot, make a lot. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Rich. So, yes, indeed. We actually, Rich, to be honest with you, if you could go through all my live streams, the ones I have up, the ones I had to take down, and the ones that are private, I would say, honestly, banging a pot has contributed over the last 5 years, 6 years. Bang a pot has probably contributed somewhere close to 20,000 US dollars. Seriously. Because don't forget, even though when I flush the toilet, the American standard toilet in America, I have this weird toilet. I have a house in America. Maybe you believe it, maybe you don't believe it, doesn't matter. So, it has a tank with a square bowl on top. It's a conservative tank. The tank would hold 3 gallons of water, but at the top of the tank it has a tipping pot, and it tips over. I used to get $100 just to tip that over. I would say if you want to see me flush the American standard toilet bowl, send me $100 in Super Chat. And a lot of people would send 20, 30. When it added up to 100, I would tip the bowl. I'd go into the bathroom and I'd bang the pot and I would tip the bowl all at the same time because I can multitask. I can bang the pot. I allow you to watch the tipping tank fill up with water. I can bang the pot. I can hold the pot. Look, let me show you something. See this? I can bang the pot, and I can lean over and flush the toilet at the same time. I can multitask. And that's what I used to do. I would bang the pot. I'd allow you to watch the tank, the tipping tank fill up. That I would do for free. And then when it filled up, I would say, look, once I get $100 in Super Chat, I'll flush the toilet. And it was a joke. It was just a joke, but they gave me $100. Sometimes I would do it for $50 if it was getting late and I had to stop banging a pot because of noise ordinance. I would just say, okay, look, $20 and I'll flush the toilet. I'll go right into the bathroom once I got $20 and flush the toilet. But I would say that banging the pot has earned close to $20,000, plus the fact that it's the stupidest thing on YouTube, all right? Banging a pot is not something that you could say, hey, you know Michael Fazio, he bangs a pot? You're not going to get any movement on that. Yesterday I was talking to a girl on the jeepney, and she said, what's your channel? Because I made a video of being on a jeepney. And I told her my channel. She goes, what do you do? And I said, I bang a pot. And she said, what do you mean you bang a pot? I said, that's my favorite thing that I do. I bang a pot and people send me money. She didn't believe me. I don't know why, but she didn't believe me. But then when I showed her, she believed me. She goes, people give you money to bang a pot? I said, sometimes. She had a hard time believing it. Lots of people. It's a stupid thing. I got to tell you, banging a pot is not like, I can't bring this to my next employer and say, hey, dude, when he says, what are your job skills? I can bang a pot. What do you mean? I can bang a pot a lot. I'm not going to get the job. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to get the job. I'm not going to have, this is not a skill set. This is a stupid thing to do that earns me a stupid amount of money, and I thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Tuna Kahuna, baby. Thank you very much. And Ann Farmer, thank you. So let's go back to the comments. Louis Pagan Ponce, great conversations. You know, Scott, I wanted to talk to you this morning. Scott, the conversation that you and I had yesterday, I explained the circumstances to Louis Pagan Ponce. Identical. I identified the target. I explained to him what's being said on YouTube, and Louis said word for word. It was as if Louis listened to our conversation. He said word for word what you said. Word for word. The same reasoning behind it all. The same mindset. It's as if you two people went to the same school. It was the wording, it was the same words. It was the same reasoning. It was the same theoretical science behind the event. Exactly. Identical. No wonder Louis is in charge of such a big organization. And Scott was one of the most powerful men in America just a few years ago. Louis Pagan Ponce. Well, we have somebody coming around to the flat earth. Coming around to the flat earth. Coming in for a land. Listen, if you review the flat earth videos that I sent, 200 Proofs the Earth is Not a Spinning Ball, and the best flat earth documentary, which is 6 hours and 2 minutes. If you review all of that, serious thought, in the second one that I just mentioned, it's this one here. Let me get it up on the screen. The best flat earth documentary. Okay, let's get that up on the screen. See right here, the best flat earth documentary. This one is 6 hours and 2 minutes long. I listen to this twice a week. I put it on. So let's go over here. And I'm going to give you the link and the title for this in the description. You cannot prove that the earth is round. Spinning ball in space. Cannot be proven. No one's ever proven it. But that was not exactly what Louis said. But we are waiting for this page to load. What I could do in the meantime is, being that it's not loaded, I'll read the comments. I'm going to shut the computer off. And I'm going to restart it. So I'm going to read the comments. So I have to do this 3 or 4 times a day, 5 times a day. It's an amazing thing. Never, ever, however long you live, whoever asks you, whenever somebody asks you what to buy for a computer, never, ever, ever, never, ever, never, ever. That's never, ever. Never buy a Lenovo computer. Never. Don't do it. You will regret it. This computer is 2 years old. I've had the motherboard replaced not once, but twice. Once it was replaced, and when I went to the store to pick it up, the motherboard did not work. They had to get another motherboard, so that's twice. I got it back. The sound card then went in it. Immediately after the sound card went, they put a new sound card in. Then the screen went. That was 800 pesos. The motherboard and the sound card was under warranty, but I didn't have a computer for 8 weeks. Never buy a Lenovo. Never. Don't ever do it. You will regret it from day one. And they'll tell you that Lenovo is a good computer because they can't sell the garbage in the store. So they tell you it's a good computer so they get that garbage off their rack. That's not a joke. I stopped buying all. Never have I bought anything from Thinking Tools in a year and a half now. Nothing. I will never buy anything from Thinking Tools in the Bohol ICM mall ever again. Because they sold me a Lenovo computer. The guy said it's a good computer. And the repairman, different place, different mall, different area of Tagbilaran, said that this is the biggest piece of junk Lenovo ever made. I brought it back to Thinking Tools, and they said, no, sir, that's a good computer. Knowing it was a piece of garbage, he sold it to a steady customer of 6.5 years. I will never go back and buy anything from Thinking Tools. I will pay more. I will go to Cebu. I will buy it over online. I will never buy anything from Thinking. There's no warranty. And that's another thing. He said the Lenovo comes with a 1-year warranty. If there's anything ever goes wrong, you just bring it back there. I brought it back to Thinking Tools. And he said, yes, sir. And then he gave me an address of where I could go to bring the computer to get fixed. I said, but you said bring it back here. He goes, yes, sir. So aren't you, we don't fix it, sir. I just said bring it back here so I could tell you where to go. Never have I, not a penny. And since then I've spent, 100,000 pesos on electronics. Between the cell phones, the 2 cell phones, much more than that. And an external drive and cards. Yeah, I spent over 100. They lost 150,000 pesos in purchases from me alone in the last year and a half. 150,000 pesos. Thinking Tools are nothing but a bunch of people that they talk very nice to you, they're well dressed, and they lie. They lie. They lie through their teeth. Just bring it back here, sir. Within a year, the warranty is on. I brought it back there, gives me an address all the way on the other end of town by the BQ Mall, past the BQ Mall. Yes, sir. I told you to bring it back here so I could give you the address of where to bring it. Never will I buy anything. Never buy a Lenovo computer. So since then, I lost it for 8 weeks. Now the screen on the computer also went again. Here, look at the screen. It just took a dump recently for no reason. I was looking at the screen and this happened. No reason. It just happened. Let's go back to the comments. Oh, yeah. I was getting you the Flat Earth video. The best Flat Earth documentary. It's 6 hours and 2 minutes, I think. Okay, skip the ads. I'm getting it. You hear that banging in the background? They put up a concrete wall in the wrong place. Yes, indeed. They put up a brand new concrete wall last week, and now they're taking it down. They put it up in the wrong place. Oh, this is not the one. Where is this? Where is the time on here? Yeah, this is it. 6 hours and 2 minutes. Okay. Why won't it show? See, this is what I mean about this. It's not showing you the time on here. 6 hours and 2 minutes right there. Right here. Okay. This one here, you listen to this. This one has about the Freemasons going back 1,000 years back into Egypt. And let me get this out here. I'm sorry if I'm making you guys wait. Louis Pagan Ponce. So we're going to go, I'm going to post this. You guys want to open this up. It's 6 hours and 2 minutes, but what else do you have to do? It's not like anybody's making videos anymore. I might be the only person in the Philippine genre that's really given any kind of content. I mean, I have a video coming up at the Smart office. I have a video of a jeepney ride. It's loaded, and I'll be putting those out. But I mean, not a lot of people. You sidetrack for a moment. The people on YouTube are in the Philippine genre are basically completely worthless when it comes out to Philippines interests. That's no pun intended. All they talk about is other bloggers. For the entire duration of their show, an hour and 47-minute video, and maybe 4 minutes of that video is YouTube content. The rest is how much one person on YouTube doesn't like another person, and that it's not right to talk about other people for an hour and 44 minutes. And I'm not going to do it anymore. And all of you do the same thing. All Up in Your Geek put out a video this morning about another blogger. Now, is that about Philippines? No, it's not. It was how to buy views. A fella that on All Up in Your Geeks videos said you could buy views, $776 for 10,000 views. No, subscribers. And he spent $5,000 to get 100,000 subscribers, which I don't believe. And then YouTube took his channel down. So all that was about was how to buy subscribers, which had nothing to do with the Philippines. It did have to do with the Philippines bloggers that are buying subscribers. No doubt about that. I mean, there's a video out with a person talking about another person who bought subscribers. So there's no doubt about it. But it's not Philippine stuff. Whereas today, I showed you how to go register your cell phones. And I have a video coming out on a jeepney. 33 people on a jeepney. And I have another video at the Smart store, how to register your phone. And maybe I'll go next door and show you that the wall that they're taking down, they put in the wrong place. They put a wall up. This is the Philippines, baby. They put a wall up 15 feet in length, 9 feet high. Then they put a water tank in there to test hydrofill the scuba tanks, and they put plumbing to it and electric to it. Then they put a booth behind it, all concrete. And yesterday I came down the block and they're taking it all out. This is brand new stuff. This is like 1 month ago they put the wall and the tank and the booth in there, and yesterday they're taking it down. This is the Philippines. Let's go over here. Okay, so hold on. Louis Pagan Ponce. Lewis says it's impossible for NASA to authenticate a picture of the Earth. He was contemplating over a glass of bourbon. It is impossible for NASA to authenticate a picture of the Earth. In court, a witness would be called to testify that they actually took the picture with a certain camera at a certain date at a place and time. Therefore, Lewis says, no one person in NASA can responsibly do this because they are not physically present behind the lens. Just saying. Especially if the supposed satellite is in space. Well, that would be true, but what about the ISS space station? They could do it from there. They have cameras, but the only thing the cameras ever face is Earth or them working on something underwater. AI can cover anything up, says Louis Pagan Ponce. It's all artificial. It's all CGI. It's all you Google pictures of distant galaxies, and then you ask how the picture was made, like the horse galaxy. There's a galaxy out there. It's the horse something, and there's the crab, the signs of the zodiac. And they take a picture of it. Google how it's made. It's not a picture. It's CGI from layers of computer graphics. Okay, Ant Farmer says the weight of a 747 without passengers and fuel is 412,000 pounds. Okay. Okay, so let's go to Ant Farmer's question here. If it is a question, let's see. Let's copy that. Let's copy that. Ant Farmer, give the... Okay, this is the one over here. The weight of a 747 without passengers and fuel. Okay, 412,000 pounds. How much weight, let's go here, how much weight can a 747 carry, including fuel? It can carry 248,000 pounds. Of cargo, approximately 4,500 miles. So it can carry 248,000 pounds. And the fuel weighs 412,000 pounds. So take the number 248,000 pounds. Let's just say 250,000 pounds. And minus 400,000 pounds. That's a negative number. It can carry 248,000 pounds. Oh, okay. This number is with. This is the whole weight of the aircraft, not just the fuel. We asked how much it was for the fuel. To put it in perspective, this is 4 times heavier than the empty weight Okay, let's try to do this here. Let's try to do this. Okay, so the empty weight is 91,000 pounds. How much does the fuel weigh? Battalion Brawler said 165,000. Let's go back over here. Let's get the number. I can't see. Hold on a minute. Let me see if I can do it this way. Battalion Brawler put a number on the screen, 165,000 kilos. I don't remember what that was. I don't remember whether the question was the loaded weight. The answer to 165 was the loaded weight or the fuel weight. I don't remember. Okay, so let's go to the bottom here. Let's go back over to this chart. So Ant Farmer says the weight of a 747 without passengers and fuel is 412,000 pounds. So what we need to know is how many gallons of fuel a 747 holds. Let's Google that. How many gallons? How many gallons 747 hold? That's what we need, that number. The 747, the website states that this model, with gas tank capacity of 63,500 gallons, burns 5 gallons per mile. So 7 times 63, let's just say it's 60,000 gallons. 7 times 60 is 420,000 pounds, which is that number, 412,000 pounds. That's fuel. How does it do that? It does that with lift. Now, how much does the whole plane weigh? Let's Google that. Weight, fully loaded, fully loaded, LOADED, 747 I know that a 747, I know for a fact it's 100,000 pounds of cargo. I remember that part. Now, okay, so here's where the discrepancy was, Ant Farmer. A maximum takeoff rate of 910,000 pounds. We were looking at the wrong numbers, Ant Farmer. We were looking at 910,000 pounds as the maximum takeoff weight. And then over here, 412,000 pounds is the weight of that fuel number that we came up before. So you would have to deduct 400,000 pounds from 900,000 pounds. That would leave 500,000 pounds. Not kilos, but pounds. We got ourselves into the thick of it today, didn't we, Ant Farmer? Here's one. A full load of fuel from a 747... One gallon every 2 seconds is what it takes on takeoff. And then 1 gallon per second for all 4 engines after it's flying. A typical flight will use 36,000 gallons. So if you times 7 times 40, it's 280,000 pounds of fuel. Okay, so, yeah, so 300,000 pounds, which is what the Italian Brawler said, could be for a long duration flight. It all depends on what you Google, I guess, because we've had numbers on the screen for 4,000-mile flights, but 747s, I think they were designed to go as much as 6,000 miles. And then you have to have a reserve, a safety reserve. So I don't know what those are. I don't know what they are, but how does it pick it up? How does it hold that much weight? It's dispersed over hundreds of square feet, plus there's fuel in the cells. Those things that look like torpedoes on the wings of the 747, they hold several hundred gallons of fuel. Let's look that up. And that's an ancillary fuel system, an additional fuel system. So let's look up wing tanks. Wing tanks. I can't see the screen. Hold on a minute. Wing tanks. Wing tank capacity for 737s. Let's just look that up because that's what it has. Okay, here we are. The center wing tank has a capacity. This is the tank on the wing, Ant Farmer. The tank on the wing holds 30,000 pounds of fuel, 4,299 gallons. Now, that's not the ancillary tanks that I'm looking for, but so each wing holds 30,000 pounds of fuel. Then the rest is stored in the fuselage. How much fuel does a 747 hold in the wings? Here's the answer to that question. Okay, so it can hold 238,000 liters. We went to liters now. So divide that by 4, 60,000 gallons. 60,000 gallons would be 7 times 7 pounds, would be 7 times 6. We're back to that 420,000 pound fuel weight. 238,000 liters would be approximately 60,000 gallons. Here, I could tell you exactly. 238,000 liters into gallons. Put that there like that. 2 gallons. 238,000 liters, 2 gallons is 63,000 gallons. So I was off. I was only rough estimating. 63,000 gallons times 7 is 420 plus 21. It's 441,000 pounds. So 450,000 pounds. So roughly half the weight of the aircraft is fuel. Ant farmer. Boy, that took a while. But he did ask a legitimate question, and he was very generous. So 440,000 pounds of fuel in a 747. It's still not his question, though. His question is, how does it hold it up? My only answer is the structure of a 747 will hold 400,000 pounds of fuel. It seems like a lot of weight to make it fly, but it's not. It's not. My Cherokee Warrior had extended fuel tanks that were 100-gallon tanks in it. So 100 gallons of fuel weighed 700 pounds. That was 1,400 pounds of fuel, the plane I flew, the Cherokee Warrior 2. So that held 1,400 pounds of fuel, but, of course, that was not to go flying around Long Island Sound or to Connecticut or to Jersey. That was, if you were going to take a cross-country trip, that plane just happened to have an extended, bigger fuel tanks. I don't know why it did. That was just the one that we flew. 3875 Charlie, call sign. 3875 Charlie. This is 3875 Charlie. So that plane had 2 100-gallon tanks in it at the time when I flew it. So 450,000 pounds of fuel in a 747 that can take off at 900,000 pounds. Half the weight of the aircraft is fuel if they're going on a long trip. But we never put more than 75 gallons in the tank, 80 gallons. So, and then you have your left and your right tank, and then you have your crossover switch, so you can bring both tanks so that they balance out the weight and balance of the aircraft in flight or on the ground. And so they do the same thing on a 747, any big plane. They have tanks on the wings. You have the fuel selector switch. You also have fuel pumps. So my buddy that's putting in a 1,000-gallon gel pack tank. It's a gel pack. They call it a gel pack. It has bands that come down everywhere on the tank so that it doesn't move in the fuselage. It's for long-distance flight, super long-distance flight. Then From the gel pack, there's a separate pump at the gel tank with a selector switch for port or starboard tanks or belly tanks. So the airplanes are built pretty complicated, but so that it makes it easy to keep them from flying and tipping over, like where it wants to tip over one way or the other on takeoff. Scott is making stories up. Michael is providing me free electric. He was able to hack the under-ocean internet cable. Scott, don't go there. Yeah, so Scott says the A-10 is the toughest plane ever made. I was proud to work. I think in Fairchild at the time, Fairchild Industries is a huge, huge plant. But I think from the time I started, my contract was for 6 months, 180 days. 180 days. Yeah, 6 months. And on the 179th day, they lay you off and then they rehire you if you want to go back. So we had ships one. The first A-10A that ever flew out of Fairchild Industries, and I was there to watch it take off. So I actually liked working on it because it was such a great experience to be able to see all those things. We have lathes in Fairchild Industries. They had a lathe in the back. Okay, so first of all, when most guys took their break, they would either run out and grab a hamburger, and by the time they ran to the place, got a hamburger, came back, their lunch was over. Me, I bag lunched it, but then what I would do is I would take my lunch and walk around the plant. It would take you 10 minutes, 15 minutes to walk to the back of the plant. And there was a lathe back there that they built the cannons for warships. The guns, I don't know how big the gun was that they made on that lathe, but the lathe bed itself was 60 plus feet. So from the chuck to the dog in the back was 60 plus feet. And I don't know how big, I don't know what the tonnage was, I don't remember. I asked the guy, of course, but I don't remember any of that stuff. And the lathe could be ran from the ground, but wasn't run from the ground. The operator of the lathe, he got into a hoist, like a boom truck, but it wasn't a boom truck. It was from the ceiling. And the operator sat in a seat with a seatbelt on, and then he could direct where he had to be or follow the tools to cut it. And he would do that from like 40 feet up in the air. That was pretty cool. Now, we weren't allowed to do video. I had a picture of me sitting on the GAU-8 cannon. I don't know where that picture is. It was done with an Instamatic camera. It was like 16 millimeter, not 35 millimeter. It was just one picture of me sitting on the Gatling gun. 7 barrels, if I remember. I think the name of the gun was the GAU-8 7 barrels, 30 millimeter. So that was the first. I have a picture of me sitting. Anybody could sit on it. You could sit on it. You weren't going to hurt it. But you weren't allowed to take pictures. That I did. I got to put the bathtub in. Tommy and I got, what they did was they put us on whatever had to be built on the airplane. In other words, we didn't just stay on skins. We didn't stay on empennage or Airline, framework, none, whatever needed to be put in the airplane next, that was our job. So when it came time to put the bathtub in, Tommy and I went and got a bathtub, and we brought it over, and Al looked at it, and Al said, okay, and then we picked it up and hoisted it into the frame, and we laid out our drill pattern and cut our holes, and, drilled out, secured it to the framework, the bulkheads. So that was pretty cool. Right, one wing, you could fly an A-10. If one wing was gone and one wing was still on, and half of the rear empennage was gone on the opposite side of the wing that was missing. So if this wing is missing and this empennage horizontal stabilator was missing, you could fly it home. With one wing and half of the horizontal stabilator gone, you could fly it home. Flushing it. And Farmer, if you're still with me and you have any more questions, I'll be happy to research that. So I think we got that down, but if you missed it and you just came back, I have the tabs to help you out with the numbers. Flushing the toilet was a spin-off of banging the pot, sort of like Joni loves Chachi from Happy Days. That's right. That's right. The thumbs up have been earned. We did get 10 thumbs up, 11 today. All right. Louis Paganpots, banging a pot is not stupid. Don't insult the bang-panging, bang-pot. Don't insult the pot-banging boomer nation. Oh, yeah, like there's a lot of us out there. Thanks, Louis. I need a brother from another motherboard. Oh, my God. That would be something. To be able to program that motherboard would be fun. Better to bang a pot than a concrete wall. That's true, Rich. Richie with the philosophical medical advice. Thank you, Richard Buong, to Rich Buong, too. Salamat. Bill. So Scott's is probably put in the wrong place on purpose so they would have to have more work. The wall. You're talking about the wall. I'm thinking airplanes, fuel tanks, the wall. I am telling you, they built, not only did they build the wall, then they filled it with concrete. Then they built a water tank around it, and they stuccoed it and painted it white, brought electric, put lighting up to it, lighting into the tank area, the guard booth. And yesterday I went by and most of it was gone. I could show you where it was. I should have taken a video of it. I did not. This is welcome to the Philippines. But when I end the live stream, I'll go take a look. See what's left. They might be taking the whole thing down. I don't know. I know that they built a very, very, very nice, intricate, expensive concrete wall and a tank filler upper and lights and electric and a guard booth. And I know they were taking it down. All of it. Bill, I've been listening for a while, just got my hands full. Okay, Bill, I got your videos, Bill. Okay, so a standard tank trailer for a gas station holds between 8 to 10,000 gallons. You're right about that. The 6,000-gallon tanks are the one they use here in the Philippines. But an American tanker is bigger. They use a smaller truck here. So I I said 6,000 gallons before because that's what we use here in Bohol. I don't know about other cities. So I think we're done. I think I'm going to go out and I think I'll take a video of that out there. Thank you very much. The power. Do you know that it's 60 degrees in New York City right now, Scott? I was talking to my brother this morning. He said it was 60 degrees in New York City. He may have said it was 60 degrees. Could be yesterday because yesterday is today in the Philippines. Could have been the day before. He wasn't specific. But yeah, it was 60 degrees in New York, and they haven't had any snow in New York at all. Zero. For months. I don't know if they had any at all. He said, so far we haven't gotten any real snow. So whatever real snow means, 2, 3, 4 inches, I don't know. All right, so I'm going to thank you all. I'm going to go out and get that guy banging that concrete wall. I'll make a quick video. Yeah, and they do that. You have no idea. You have no idea how many walls they put up here and then take them down. Or they build a wall, fill it up with concrete and rebar, and then they spend 3 days making a hole for an air conditioner. Instead of just plugging it out with a wooden form, they build the wall, they put the block, they fill the block, they put metal in the block, and then they take 3 days to chisel it out with a hand chisel and a die grinder, 3 days to put a hole in the wall for an air conditioner, when they could have just put a wooden frame in and not saved 3 days of labor for 2 men, 6 days of labor. I watched them do it next door recently. 6 man days to punch a hole in a wall that they could have put a wood frame in from day one. They do it all the time. Not the Stanley house next door where they're building a house. They built the wall, and then you hear the die grind a couple of days later. A 4-inch die grind, and then chiseling, and then they dado it out. It's an amazing thing, the Philippines. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Dennis, thank you. 35 degrees Fahrenheit in Brooklyn right now. Okay, 39. Yeah, he said it was 60 degrees. And it was spring weather. So I'll get with you guys later, Scott and Lewis, on that. Got some stuff to talk about with that. Things are going well here. I got my cell phones registered. I pay. Oh, Scott, I thought I had forgot my immigration. I had it written down that my immigration was due on February 15th. I thought I forgot it, but when I went there yesterday, the paper I had written down that my immigration fee was due on the 15th is a 10-day notice for me to remember to go by the 25th. So actually, I got there on the 22nd. There was no late fee. But if you guys are late on your immigration fees, it's $20 for the first day. I don't know how many. I've only been late one time, one day, and that was 5 years ago. That was $20, 1,000 pesos. Well, it was more than 20, but like $23. But I was not late. So now I put it in both my phones and... All right, Dennis. Yes, it is. So thanks for watching. I got to get outside. I got to get a video before that wall is gone. I wish I had a video of the whole it was a beautiful tank. Oh man, and I was complimenting them just last week on how nice it came out because I stopped and talked to all the men. You'll see it in the video. And now they took it all down. And yesterday I went by, did not say anything. I will not talk to them about something like that because it was their pride. They did beautiful job. And now they took it all down. God day to everybody from Michael Fazio and THSI in the Philippines, baby. That's right. Umping Permy, which of course means take care always, and Farmer. And that other man, what was that other man's name? Let's get... Tuna Kahuna. Thank you. I didn't see it. Tuna Kahuna. Thank you, the big Tuna Kahuna. I think I know who you are, actually. I'm not sure. There might have been a man that told me he caught tuna fish years ago. But Tuna Kahuna, thank you. Salamat. And Farmer, Salamat. And Farmer, any more questions? Tuna Kahuna, always welcome. You're welcome to ask free questions. Libre. No charge. Thank you again. Umping Permy, which means take care always. Bye-bye for now. That's right, baby. Umping Permy from the Philippines, baby.